Hey there, beautiful. I'm Conco Clam, and welcome to another video. I'm pretty sure the title is going to be exactly what I'm going to be talking about, so it shouldn't be too much of a surprise. Last night, I had a pretty weird dream, and some of this is probably going to be in the title of the video. I'm not entirely sure how it started or how it got into, the entire beginning part of it, because, I don't know, dreams are kind of hard to remember, but I remember the beginning part. I was the Grinch. I don't know why. And I was in Walmart. And I was on a mission to get something called red vines. If you don't know what red vines are, it's basically Twizzlers, but different. They're supposed to be healthier, they don't have preservatives or anything like that, and they're not supposed to be as sweet or something. And I don't know why I was so determined to get red vines. I mean, I've only eaten them a few times in my life. I've eaten Twizzlers much more than red vines, but I like red vines. I do. But I'm not exactly sure what sparked my interest in them in this dream, but I was determined to get them. And everywhere I looked in Walmart, there were Twizzlers. Only Twizzlers, and that was pissing me off. I was upset that they only had Twizzlers and not red vines. And I was getting angry. I was asking employees, hey, where are the red vines? And they're like, I don't think we have any. We might have some in stock, but we'd only be able to put them up tomorrow. And I think I beat up some employees because I was upset at that. And I just know for a good portion of the beginning part of the dream, I was just running around, climbing on the aisles, just jumping around, doing crazy stuff, being like, where are the red vines? I kept looking for them, kept finding Twizzlers, kept being disappointed. Eventually, after some time passed, I think it was the next day, though I never left Walmart or anything, and I think they put out some red vines, and I'm like, yeah, finally, red vines. And I went go look at where they stocked them up, and I found the boxes of red vines, and they were empty. Apparently, they put out the boxes of red vines, and somehow, someone got to them before me and bought them. So I was pissed. I asked another employee, I'm like, hey, why are the boxes empty? Someone else must have bought them. And I think I beat them up because I was really, really determined to get some red vines. I had no idea why, but I really wanted red vines. But eventually, I found some. Looking around, I found a whole bunch of other, weird, completely non-existent, snacks and candies. I can't even remember what they were called, but I think there was, this one bag. It was, charcoal. But instead of actually being, charcoal briquettes, it was, sugar or cotton candy that looked like charcoal, and you eat it or something. I don't know. I found that, and I'm like, well, this is interesting, but they're not red vines, so I ignored them for the most part, and kept looking for the red vines. Eventually, I did find some red vines, but here's the weird thing about the red vines that I found. They were sold completely individually. You couldn't buy a bag or a box of them. Each individual strand of red vine, like a singular Twizzler, individually wrapped and individually sold, and they were $1 per stick or whatever they're called. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is stupid. This is complete BS. Understandably, because if that happened in real life, that'd be pretty freaking dumb. So I was, of course, upset, and I went on some kind of rampage, or I ended up just stealing the individual red vines and just eating them. Employees were like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, well, I want red vines, so I'm eating them. And I was the Grinch the entire time, so of course I was not listening to anyone. I was the Grinch. Rules don't apply to me. But that was the entire beginning part of the dream, and as usual with me, dreams have multiple sections, and they can be completely different, have entirely different moods. And this dream just kind of proves it. Because the entire part, it was kind of, I guess if there was some kind of Grinch comedy where he was like, I'm looking for red vines. It was lighthearted, I guess, But the second half of my dream took a really dark turn. I was in Walmart the entire time, and it's not like I ever left Walmart, but suddenly I was in an old-timey town. Like, it's like the entire atmosphere just suddenly shifted, and I was in a completely different place. It was like a town from like the 1800s or something. I wasn't the Grinch, I was me, and I was in an old town. And this town was haunted. Like, the entire town was haunted by this, like, vengeful ghost. It was weird. And it was me and some other person, I think a female, but I don't know who, and I'm not sure exactly why we were there, like what we were doing. But there was like a person there, and he was like, have you seen this person? And it's like they were missing, and we're like, no, we have not seen this person. It was one of the residents, and I think they killed themselves, because the thing about this town, it was haunted, but the ghost wouldn't kill people, it would just drive them crazy. And a lot of people would kill themselves because this ghost would haunt them and like drive them crazy. It was weird, it was dark, it was scary. And somehow, I'm not entirely sure what the situation was. I don't know if I went back in time, if I was just in the past, or what I think actually happened was I was in present time, but the town was just like that. It just was old. And I think that in order for us to find out what this ghost was, what this spirit was, me and this other person, I think we had some kind of machine, or we did something. I don't know entirely. I'm not entirely sure. I just know somehow we looked into the past. Somehow, like, we had a TV or like an Oculus Rift, and we were in the town, but it was like stepping back in time without actually going back in time. We were just looking around trying to figure out, where did this phantom originate from? We found out eventually that it was a little boy that had been murdered by this Freddy Krueger style guy. I'm not entirely sure what this guy did. I don't know if he did the things Freddy Krueger did to the kids. If you don't know, by the way, go watch Nightmare on Elm Street. He didn't just kill them, he did other things to them. I don't know if that's what happened, but I just know this boy was with his mom. Boy didn't listen to the mom because the mom wanted him to like stay somewheres, but he wander off, and he went to a bathroom, and the guy followed him into the bathroom and fucking murdered him. And I saw that, and we're like, okay, we know what's up now. This is what happened. Little boy was murdered, and his spirit was vengeful because no one ever found out that this guy did it. This crazy murderer guy. He followed the kid, killed him. No one ever knew what happened. And now the boy's spirit was haunting the town. It was like driving people crazy, making people kill themselves because it was a vengeful spirit, you know, like The Grudge. People didn't do anything, they were innocent, but the ghost is like, you know what, fuck you, because, I don't know, ghost stories are like that for some reason. But we somehow had to fix it, and this is the part where it gets really confusing, because, like I said, we were looking into the past, and I think, I'm not sure if I went into the past or if I was somehow influencing the past, but I was in the bathroom where the boy was murdered, and I stopped it from happening. Somehow I stopped the boy from being killed by this guy, and I don't know if I killed the guy or if it was just like, hey, don't do it, and he's like, oh shit, there's someone else in here, and he just didn't do it. I don't know, I just know I somehow stopped it from happening. I knew that the boy wasn't murdered, because when we went go check, like, the history records, the little boy no longer went missing. He grew up and, like, had a family or something like that. We knew that the boy wasn't murdered. But the town was still haunted. It was still messed up, because somehow the timeline was messed up because we fucked something up. We messed something up. The boy lived, but somehow his spirit was still there haunting the town. It was like, I don't know, like an alternate timeline, something like that. So somehow we had to bring out the ghost, and I had to convince the ghost to stop. I think I was talking to the ghost like, you have to somehow find it in yourself to forgive and forget. Well, I don't know, something like that. They had to have forgiveness what happened, so he would stop holding this anger and this vengeance that was causing this town to just be horrible. And he was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Fuck you. Fuck everyone. And I'm like, okay. And I think the ghost was trying to kill me, but I wasn't dying for some reason. I was like, no, I'm not dying. I know I'm right, and you're a bitch. Fucking forgive yourself. Because it was like, you have to forgive yourself for disobeying your mom and letting yourself get killed, basically, because it was kind of his fault for disobeying his mom, but it was also the guy's fault for killing him, and you have to forgive both yourself and the guy. I mean, look, I went back in time and actually stopped you from being killed, so your spirit, your alternative spirit or whatever, has to forgive and move on and let the town be. You just have to let the town move on, otherwise it's going to be fucked up forever. And somehow I convinced the ghost, and the ghost was like, okay, I'm gonna move on. And then he ascended into heaven or whatever. After that, the timeline fixed itself. The timeline where the boy wasn't murdered and his spirit let go, and it was this weird everything started warping, and the entire town changed. Because the reason why the town was so old-timey that entire time was because somehow the boy's vengeful spirit was halting progress. It was keeping the town in that time, in that 1800 style time. There was no technological progression. I mean, they had electricity and stuff, but nothing was moving forward because the people were being driven crazy and nothing was progressing, nothing was moving forward. But once the spirit moved on, it's time just completely changed and the town became modern. They had a modern day train instead of an old locomotive, and people were happy, there were no suicides, and everything just fixed itself. And that's basically how it ended my entire dream, because I woke up soon after that. And I woke up and it was one of those dreams where I'm just sitting there, I'm like, what the fuck? Because the entire second half of the dream was pretty scary, honestly. It felt like being in a horror movie. I felt sick when I woke up, I felt really sore and whatnot, and I was sweaty. I think because of, how you have a bad dream and you wake up all sweaty. I think that's what happened. Well, that was that was my dream last night. I don't know if maybe I'll start talking about my dreams more often, because I'll tell you, it's not very weird for me to have weird ass dreams that are like this. I have very abnormal style dreams most of the time that I can normally remember, and I think they're interesting, and I don't know, I might start talking about them more just so I can have something to put out there. But I'm basically done talking about this dream. Maybe you found it interesting. I don't know. I thought it was interesting, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave this video here. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it interesting, I guess. And I'll see your beautiful faces next time you see mine. Bye. And so I cry sometimes when I'm